I'll do a quiet hail. Hey-oh.
Oh.
Hey-oh.
Yeah,
Live
there it is.
from page 127 of Emma Lurking's favorite novel. It's the Magical Monday edition of Business Pants. Hey-oh. Joined as always by Emma, truly lurking, and Matt, the ESG analytics hustler, Mascardi.
Ooh.
I'm Kimball Musk's favorite Uber driver. Am I allowed to say that? Hustler and ESG analytics
I do
hustler?
feel like it just got porny. I don't
even know what a hustler is, really. I thought a hustler is someone who like gets business, or like the Jackie Gleason, Paul Newman movie.
I get all the business done.
Today's mix CD bag of spam-scented nuggets called June 6, 2020. Sexy story updates and sleazy academic papers. Yeah.
Sleaze. Bring in the sleaze.
What's wrong with academia?
I don't know. What's wrong with you? What's wrong?
Everything. Here we go. Ready?
Let's do this.
No Emma today.
No Emma today. She is true lurking.
So if you actually hate Emma, today's your day, I guess. But why would you hate Emma?
Nobody
What's
hates
wrong
Emma.
with you to hate Emma? Yeah.
Actually,
well,
our bigger
problem
problem
I don't know if that's true.
Our bigger problem is that people don't want to hear us. They mostly want to just hear her.
I've heard more praise of Emma than I have of us, yes, but it doesn't mean that people don't hate Emma. You can't. It's not exactly
no but there. There's not a but there.
And I'm not suggesting that anyone should hate Emma. Well, come on, let's do it. Come on.
I'm waiting for you.
Updates. I wanted to update this because I made a mistake last week. I don't make a lot of mistakes, but when I do, I want to. I insinuated there was an article that the NBA is now half the coaches are now black. I insinuated this was just a piece that wasn't topical, that they were just talking about it because of the playoffs. I'm wrong. The Lakers just hired Darvin Ham, so something did happen. There was a news event. There was a new black coach hired last week. That's why I just want to say it. I just wanted to put it out there.
What a screw up you are.
And I wanted to point out that Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, who I've heaped a lot of praise on here, is also clearly aligned with us. Here's what he had to say. He said
he called us. Left me a vet.
He said he's talking about the increase in black coaches in the NBA. He said you have to talk. Here's a quote. You have to talk about these issues all the time. That's what we do, Matt.
That's all day.
He says, if you care about diversity and inclusion in your workplace, you've got to look at the data. Matt, that's what we fucking do.
That's our job. That's what. Wow.
I mean,
he works
this
for
is
Free
perfect. He also said, and this is a hint to maybe when we can finally stop this terrible company. This is what he said. He said, at the same time, while I'm particularly proud of those numbers and roughly 50% of our head coaches are black now, the goal is that's not newsworthy. And that when people are hired, their first reaction isn't the color of their skin or gender. So what he's saying, Matt, is that when we finally get to that breaking point where half the CEOs of the S&P 500 are women, I think we can retire. We're done.
Yeah,
it won't be newsworthy
I was going to
anymore.
say, what do we talk about if that happens? What do
That's
we
what I'm
do?
saying, but he's saying that's when we're done.
I don't.
That's
wanna
when
be
we're done. So
like
corporate
doing this.
America, if you want us out, get half the women, the CEOs in the S&P 500 to be women, and we're done. We promise.
Wow, that
All right.
bold.
Moving on.
Do we have to move on? Because I know what we're going to talk about.
There's a whole lot of Kimball Musk's brother out there. Let's go. Let's hit it. First, there's a letter. Elon Musk accuses Twitter of resisting and thwarting his right to information on fake accounts. So they filed a letter with the SEC. He's calling it a clear material breach of terms of their merger agreement. Yeah. Here it is. Here's what I want to point out in the letter. It says, this is from a lawyer from his law firm. He says, Mr. Musk will, of course, comply with the restrictions bound by a non-disclosure agreement, et cetera, et cetera. You think Elon Musk will, of course, comply with
of course might be a little strong. Of course might be strong. Yeah.
But technically speaking, Matt, he's looking for the data to prove how many of the accounts at Twitter are spam or bots. You really think Elon Musk is not going to reveal this data when he kills the agreement? This is he's under a non-disclosure that he can't. So how is he going to get around this, Matt? How?
Well, he's not. I mean, look.
But his lawyer said, of course he will comply. Of course
he will. Yeah. But only with Section 6.4. And I'm sure they're going to find something in there that's like allows them to not comply. Look, this is kabuki theater. I don't know. I hate it. It's so stupid.
The end of the letter says this is a clear material breach of Twitter's obligations under the merger agreement, and Mr. Musk reserves all rights to terminate the merger agreement.
Yeah, great. Do it. Pay the $1 billion, which you won't do, but do it. I'd love it.
There's more from this category on a story we covered last week. Now Tesla's headcount will increase, according to Musk, after emailing staff about job cuts. So after sending an email last week about job cuts for salaried staff, Elon seemed to retract his statements in a tweet, writing that the number of salaried staff may not change drastically. This came after he told them that he would cut 10% of salaried jobs. So this is what's going on. I mean, really, this is why we talk about this constantly. Because what the actual F?
I'm buying Twitter and I'm not negotiating. I'm not buying Twitter. I'm negotiating. Oh, you're all fired. What kind of
nonsense is this?
Oh, no one's fired. Like, this is like, I don't.
I was going to ask you, there are certain requirements that corporations have with the SEC to file information, like this. Are you allowed to file like flip-floppy information with the SEC constantly? Like, could you do one day say 10% layoffs, the next day say the opposite? Are you allowed to keep doing that all year round? Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. You could
cool.
The next day you could file a letter
I didn't
that
even
says,
know this.
I recant what I just said.
So let's move on. Matt, did you know that there was another sibling? It's not just Elon and Kimball. Did you know there's a third one?
No.
I didn't know this. This is from the New York Times today. The headline, Kimball's other sibling at Passionflix, Tosca Musk, streams shows of toe-curling yumminess. So Tosca Musk, who is Elon's youngest sister, is the force behind Passionflix, a streaming service dedicated to adaptations of romance novels and erotic fan fiction. The service costs $6 a month.
What?
And organizes content. This is kind of like us. Organizes content by a barometer of naughtiness. The categories are oh so vanilla, mildly titillating, passion and romance, toe-curling yumminess, and not safe for work.
How come she's not on the board?
I don't know. Passionflix has raised nearly $22 million in early funding from investors that include Kimball Musk, but not Elon. I don't see Elon Musk on this stuff.
He doesn't like his sister. No.
All right.
I want to... Yeah. Actually, can we start rating everything that Elon Musk says with those categories? Oh so vanilla, mildly titillating, passion and romance, and toe-curling yumminess, and then
first
not
good
safe
idea
for
you've
work.
had in about a year. I like it. Let's do it. All right. Meanwhile, I will add this just to follow up our updates on the industry that Elon Musk operates in. Ford said it is planning to invest in $4 billion in facilities across the Midwest, including creating 6,000 union jobs. I'm just saying.
They're nice. I mean,
you don't have to comment.
They actually could use more. I want an F-150 Lightning, and I can't get one. To like back order for $300.
Do you actually want a pickup truck? Actually,
I just want what I want is the battery you can plug into your house and run to your house. That's all I want.
Cool. I like
That's
that
the
too.
best. And it drives. That's the best.
It actually works. Let's update Cheryl. The follow-up from Sheryl Sandberg leaving Facebook or Meta, or whatever you want to call it. Here's another one from the New York Times. Here, the headline is, "Who is Mark Zuckerberg's new number 2?" If you just focus on that part of the headline, it's
already false.
Kind of juvenile, anyway.
She was number 1. You took it.
But
as
isn't it what is Mark Zuckerberg's new number 2? It's not who. Is his excrement a person? I don't understand that. They say it's a trick question because they say that Mr. Zuckerberg no longer has any clear number 2, so they really consolidated the power.
Woo!
Yeah,
This is
trouble.
What a stupid headline.
Trouble ahead. I don't think it's a stupid headline. I think that people need to know what's going on there. This guy
they don't.
Kicked out everyone. It's really just him now.
There was never a number 2. He's a dual-class dictator.
Right. I guess you're right.
Who cares?
Let's go to our stakeholders rule category. A union claims that Starbucks is illegally closing a cafe to retaliate. So they said, the Workers United said that a Starbucks is violating federal labor law by permanently closing an Ithaca, New York store. They say it's in retaliation since the employees at this location just voted to unionize in April. And let me tell you, Matt, in case you don't know what's going on in Ithaca, New York, there are two major colleges there, two major universities. Cornell, 26,000 students, including 10,000 postgraduates. And I know these postgraduates, they need caffeine. And Ithaca College, 6,000 students. Come on, you're closing a Starbucks in Ithaca, New York. 10,000 postgraduate students at Cornell alone. Stop it. Come on, stop it.
I'm actually shocked that when you look for Starbucks in Ithaca, New York, there's only 5. There's that seems like the lowest concentration of Starbucks anywhere. And you're closing one? That seems nuts.
If I was the judge on this case, I would take this data point that I just gave them and say, yeah, you're retaliating. You can't do this.
No, it's pretty obvious. I like this. I like your logic. I buy your logic.
Moving on to more fun stories. Billionaires and pigs versus the world. Matt.
Is that a category of ours?
Yeah, this is going to depress you. A story we've covered several times. Carl Icahn is dropping a proxy fight focused on the treatment of pregnant pigs at grocery chain Kroger after concluding he is likely to lose, as he did a similar fight at McDonald's last month.
Look, of course he doesn't care about this issue that much.
Okay, here's the quote. I congratulate the McDonald's teams on their victory in this proxy engagement, and after much contemplation, given the company's financial position, I believe the same outcome will result at Kroger. What? Seriously?
He's
filed. What is this?
He filed the proposals only because his daughter has got a thing for pigs and
let the shareholders
rights.
At least vote on it. He's pulling it before. So at McDonald's, he pulled it before they even got a chance to vote on it
because he doesn't care. Like he might like.
What about the pregnant pigs? You think they don't care?
No, well, first of all, the whole thing was ridiculous. But
well, now this is the proof that's ridiculous. I just can't believe he's not. Let it go to vote.
Nah, you still have. I mean, he doesn't want to be embarrassed by the 0.1% he's going to get.
And he's congratulating the people. He's congratulating the same people that he says are abusing the pregnant pigs. He's congratulating them.
That's my favorite part. But
I don't understand any of this. I don't get this. I mean, it was such a great cause. Now he's congratulating them because they won a proxy engagement.
I'm just sad for Leslie Samuelrich, who I know from the SRI community, who was put up for the McDonald's board, did not make it. Apparently, shareholders.
Sucks. I hate all this.
Yeah, no,
I do. This sucks. Bullshit. Come on, Carl. All right, finally, I'm going to wrap up with some updates from the world of corporate governance.
Woo!
First. Ready for this? At Swisscom, a male CEO has replaced a male CEO.
What?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that on the group executive board at Swisscom, there's only one woman. She's the head of human resources. It's just this trend I want to keep talking about. I want to keep talking about it. Okay.
I feel comfortable now.
And finally, Matt, remember the sniper? Who's the sniper? Remember who the sniper is?
Oh, wasn't that movie with Bradley Cooper?
It's close enough. It was
it's that Amazon dude, right? The guy by the water coolers listening or whatever.
Exactly. It was Amazon's worldwide consumer CEO Dave Clark. He's out.
Oh,
speaking of number twos, speaking of what is your number two or who's your number two, another huge company, losing their number two. That's Amazon. Dave Clark out basically because he's been sucking. And I'm not joking.
That's a good reason to get him out.
Yeah, a series of missteps at the business he ran, including warehouse overexpansion, overstaffing, spiraling costs, bruising loss to a union, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The sniper has been sucking, and he's out.
That's nice. It's nice to see some accountability. Not for, like, the sniping and stuff, but at least for something.
So Andy Jassy also consolidating power. So it's going to be Jassy versus
Who's
Zuck.
Jassy's number two?
This is
if Dave Clark's out.
Yeah.
Why am I not reading the new headline with Dave Clark, the sniper gone? Who's Andy Jassy's number deuce? Where's that headline?
Well, maybe tomorrow. All right, that's all I got. Update.
All right, I have a few short things for you. It's another installment of Egghead Say.
Yes.
The segment no one cares about, where we re-say things that people smarter than us said, so that we say them in a way that stupider people can understand them.
I think what you're trying to say is, speaking of the wonderful researchers at Cornell University who no longer have
exactly, they are decaf now, decafed.
What are the academics up to? What are they up to?
So this is actually a roundup of climate change studies that were released. Almost all of these were released in just the past week, which is psychotic to me. How much there is.
Just the past week. Okay.
Yeah, no joke. But when we talk about climate change and climate change studies, mostly we're usually talking about like the monsoon that's drowning Stuart Kirk's house in Miami, or some violent hurricanes in Louisiana, like demolishing anti-gun or anti-woke gun laws, or like droughts making sand dunes that Teslas can get stuck in. It's usually stuff like that we think of, right?
You know what? Until you said that, I hadn't actually even thought about that. The two of the biggest anti-woke pushers are the ones that are the biggest target, and actually add Texas to that, the biggest targets of hurricanes, of these super hurricanes
there was
generated by climate change.
That weird ice storm in Texas. That's
right.
You know,
it's
like,
kind of weird, huh? Kind of weird.
It's, it's a little weird. I think that's called irony. I believe that's what that's called.
Very Alanis, yeah.
All right, but the eggheads are here to actually screw with us and all our preconceptions. Here are some of the second-order effects that you're not thinking about with climate change. You ready?
Second-order effects, okay.
These are the things you're not thinking about. Here is one of them. Volcano cooling effect impacted by climate change.
Volcano cooling effect, okay.
Thomas Aubrey from the University of Cambridge and Marie Sklodowska Curie, fellow on the Volc Pro project. I'll pretend like I know what all those things are.
Yeah.
They did a paper, and this is going to be a little weird, but and I had to get deeper into this than I thought I'd have to. But when a volcano erupts, it ejects sulfur into the atmosphere, and that sulfur actually mixes with water droplets and repels sunlight. Okay, so there's a cooling effect when a volcano erupts. However, what they found was small, normal-sized volcanic eruptions no longer will cool the Earth. Now it takes a massive volcanic eruption to help cool the Earth. So, eggheads are saying a volcano large enough to melt you could also save you from climate change. Those are the only ones that can save you. That's where we're at.
How do we consolidate volcano power? How do we do that?
I put in a call. I'm going to find out. I'm going to see if they can do that.
The anti-woke people would become now anti-volcano people too? Because if massive volcanoes are cooling, isn't that kind of a woke thing to cool the? Well,
the real question is if like the sort of subordinate volcanoes are not as effective, who's the real volcano number 2? That's what the headline I'm waiting for.
I was thinking that too.
No, you were not. No. All right. Next one is rising temperatures erode human sleep globally.
Erode human sleep. I like the
Kelton
sound of this.
Miner, Andreas Bjerre Nielsen, Siga Svala, Yondos. I can't say some of these. We'll say Jonas Sune Lehman and Nick Obradovich.
Yes.
These are researchers who found the following. Warmer temperatures are reducing sleep globally, amplifying the risk of insufficient sleep. The elderly, women, and residents of lower income countries are impacted the most, and those living in warmer climates lose more sleep per degree of temperature rise.
Oh, good. Then I'm safe up here in Maine. That's why I've been sleeping so well. Yeah.
Eggheads basically are saying old poor ladies should invest in sleep masks and fans. That's what's happening. If you thought you were going to sleep, you're not.
Yeah, I mean, when I lived in Brooklyn, here's what old poor ladies would do. They'd sit outside in their lawn chairs at midnight in their underwear. I'm just saying that's what they did. It's brilliant.
That sounds actually delightful.
Yeah.
For them.
They didn't look very happy, to be honest. All right.
Here's another one. Can crossbreeding protect endangered species from the climate emergency? This one's... Yeah. This one, you're going to know exactly why I grabbed this. It's based on a study by Claire Hiroshiki, Peter Kareva, Michelle Marvier. Can some of you researchers get fucking normal names for me, please? That I can pronounce? The study they did is titled "Concern over hybridization risks should not." Oh, you just turned off the music. Should not preclude conservation interventions, and it covers the idea. This is my new favorite idea of growler bears, a crossbreed of grizzlies and polar bears that are adapted to better survive climate change. So the eggheads are saying we need to create new mutant creatures in order to survive climate change. How do you feel?
I feel like the anti-woke crowd won't like the idea of growler bears.
Why? This is like perfect for the anti-woke
Just think
crowd.
Confederate flag, and then you'll understand where I'm going.
All right, here's another one. Climate change-induced droughts in Iraq led to the reemergence of a 3,400-year-old submerged city. That
actually
is right.
Yes, this is what I'm excited about because I've been thinking about this. Yeah, because droughts reveal stuff. There's stuff at the bottom of water, of bodies of water, right? It has to be.
They found actually earlier in the last month that at the bottom of Lake Mead, they're finding barrels filled with human remains from mafia killings in the 60s that are now emerging thanks to the droughts. But this one is German and Kurdish archaeologists. They're actually racing to catalog a 3,400-year-old city that's now visible again thanks to a drought in Iraq.
Wow. That's cool.
And they expect it's going to be resubmerged as some of the waters, the ices melt and the waters rise again. But they are thinking this is the ancient city of Zakiku of the Mitanni Empire. That's right, an empire almost no one has ever heard of, but that controlled large swaths of the northern Mesopotamia and Syria. So the eggheads are actually saying here, thank you, climate change. We now have more cuneiform to read. They found cuneiform tablets, in perfect condition.
Can we say to those archaeologists that can they look for? I'm missing a keychain. It's an Eiffel Tower keychain. Maybe I think maybe the bottom.
Did you drop it? Did you drop it in the Red Sea?
I dropped it near the ancient city of Zakiku. So if they see it, could they please send it to me? Thanks.
I'll let them know.
Thanks.
Here's one that hurts my brain, but I'm going to say it. Sand shortages are linked to climate change.
Sand shortages.
That is right.
Okay.
Now, sand is actually the second most used commodity in the world next to water.
What?
And there's so much to unpack here. So I'm just going to give you some highlights. Climate change apparently is washing away beaches, and beach sand is the primary input for glass and concrete.
Okay.
I read that desert sand is actually, quote, too angular.
Wow.
That's what apparently, so you can't use desert sand. So beach sand is eroding and disappearing. And it's led to the rise of sand mafias.
Oh, no.
Who are stealing and trading sand on the black market.
I'm
not joking. None of this is a joke. The depletion of the sand has actually left cities vulnerable to sea level rise. Sand is actually the first barrier in a lot of places to rising sea level. And it's caused the UN to issue a critical warning last month.
Wow.
So eggheads are saying, go long sand. It is going to be like water, one of the most needed, least available resources in the world.
I mean, coming from an ocean city, when I go to beaches at least once a week, I'm fascinated by this. First of all, sand being the second biggest commodity. You're telling me that companies just come to beaches and load up on sand? Is this how it works?
They literally take giant diggers and bring the sand somewhere else to make stuff.
Wow.
They actually destroyed sand, everywhere they've been sort of strip mining sand. They actually started forests that are next to beaches. They start clearing them out and digging the ground, hoping they can get sand out of them. The need for sand is so high that they will strip everything to get sand.
And doesn't that directly correlate with coastal erosion? Isn't that sand there for a purpose?
Yeah, and it takes 10,000 years to make that sand. So it's like you take the sand out. There's not like new sand. That's just like, we'll just make some new sand.
The waves have to be punching those rocks forever, right?
Punch them for 10,000 years. Yeah. So you can stand on a rocky shoreline and wait 10,000 years, and then you'll have the sand you need.
That sounds nice.
It does actually sound delightful. Here's another one.
Yeah.
This one will make your brain hurt too.
Okay.
The title of the article I read is Climate Change. Is it time to say goodbye to inhaled anesthesia?
Oh, no.
Anesthesiologist Dr. Nick Sperna-Wayland of Amsterdam University Medical Center is the founder of the center's sustainable healthcare team. It turns out the happy gas that you get for your root canal is more dangerous to climate change than cow farts. In fact, as much as 80 times worse for global warming potential. Wow. When they put that mask on you and they knock you out, it's an 80x worse for climate change than cows are. Methane
but
from cows.
But there have to be far more cows out there farting than there are people.
Oh, yeah.
Canals,
overall,
right?
I'm just talking on a particle for particle basis. I'm not talking about like actual emissions. But there is a move to actually stop giving or recycle as much as they can.
Yeah. Ooh,
gas, inhaled anesthesia. So the eggheads are saying, prepare to stay awake during your root canal. They're going to.
I like this, Matt.
They're going to do more local and less gas.
It's kind of like in college, you know, where you take a hit of a joint and then you pass it off to someone like directly into their mouth. That kind of thing. you pass the smoke off. Maybe if you don't have a lot of weed left.
What was
so maybe we could do that with root canals. You just you take a hit of the anesthesia,
and then you make out with the person next to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful. Come on, we're you just put a dental dam over your face and pass that anesthesia. It's great. Perfect.
And now I'm going to end by fully depressing you.
Okay. Actually, these stories haven't depressed me so far. I'm learning a lot, and I like to learn stuff. So it's good.
They depressed me reading all about them. Locals advocate glacier marriages amid climate change concerns in Pakistan.
I don't know what that means.
Here's what's happening. Yeah, it's hard to understand what that means until I tell you.
Yeah.
Pakistan is the home to the highest number of glaciers outside of the poles, the North and South poles.
What? Pakistan?
No joke. Yeah, Pakistan.
Pakistan must be. Wait, what is it?
There's a lot of mountains. They're all up in the mountains. It's all glaciers up
Glacial
in the mountains.
Okay. Glaciers.
There's little glaciers all over the place.
Wow.
Like
you can stop right there, and I say good reporting because I did not know that.
I take no credit. I reporting something else. And turns out they're all melting. In fact, over the last few months, there have been massive. A lot of these melts are happening all of a sudden, and they're like washing away towns on the mountains of Pakistan. And locals, to combat this, now there's climate alarmists who are really upset by it, but locals are beginning to perform an ancient ritual in which they marry glaciers to create new ones.
Oh, it's kind of like when you in the shower when the soap. When your bar of soap is really small, right? And you kind of try to mash them together, but it doesn't really work out when you try to wash your body with all those little soaps.
It turns out that it actually doesn't make more soap, though. You just combine two little bits of soap into one slightly larger bit of soap.
And it's really difficult and terrible.
And it's really hard, and they keep falling apart. But they're performing ceremonies. Now, this got me thinking about the religious implications of climate change. This is from a paper in the Federal Reserve put out in 2016. Yeah, I said the Federal Reserve.
Sure.
This is a paper they did. In the context of environmental disasters, it has been religion has been shown, prayer has been shown to play three important psychological roles. Number one, helps people persevere and survive distress. So you pray because it helps you mentally survive it. Number two, it provides you a sense of protection from future negative events. So you're praying to protect you from the event happening again.
Okay.
And number three, believing that it can prevent future disasters. This is what a study by Mitchell in 2003 found. Here is my prediction. I have two predictions.
Yes.
Two predictions. Not Egghead say, this is us. Number one, climate change is going to increase religious fervor because we need explanations for things that are happening. And if you don't believe humans are creating climate change, then you will begin to, a lot of religious organizations will ascribe religious reasons for some of these disasters that are happening rather than scientific. Expect more factioning in religion and more religious reasons for that. Okay. Number two,
sounds terrible.
This is my real prediction.
Yes.
Netflix will option a glacier version of The Bachelor by 2025. There's no way that there's
explain a glacier version.
If they're marrying glaciers in Pakistan, how long is it until Netflix goes out there and says, well, what's the glacier version of The Bachelor? Can we find 6 glaciers?
So the Bachelor will be the glacier.
Together? Yeah, the glaciers are going to be like in a room together.
It'll be like a race against romantic time as it melts. Like, can we get love before it melts away?
Love before you melt? It's a wonderful Netflix show.
Just end the show on this because
that is where I'm going to end the show. That's Damian Rollis. Emma lurked hard today.
Yeah, good work, Emma.
We are Free Float Media. If you like this, come back tomorrow. We'll have more.
How could you not like
this? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. No. You should enjoy it.
You learned a lot of stuff today. I'm sorry. You actually did learn a lot.
I mean, if you listened, if you didn't turn off by now.
I mean, who even knew that Pakistan was a thing? I didn't even know Pakistan was a thing. What is a Pakistan?
There you go. That feels racist and somehow useful. No. All right.
How dare you?
That's it. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.